Alrighty, welcome back to Can I Talk for a Second with Mom and Dad. Welcome to Season 2.
Feels like forever.
It does feel like forever. As you can tell, we have relocated and we have a sign. So shout out to Phil and Day Day for the sign. That was my Christmas present. But yeah, a lot has happened, so we're going to catch you guys up and tell you a little bit about our new content formatting. And catch up on some of the questions and things that we've gotten. So how have you been, sir?
I've been good.
I'm gonna take my air traffic.
Much hasn't changed for me, besides a ton load of streams, so.
We kept streaming, so hopefully,
yes.
Hopefully you guys were catching us on Twitch every Thursday or Tuesday, depending on what chaos was going on. I didn't have a TV for 2 weeks.
That's true, but we did have a strong duo. Me and Ava, we were strong.
Yeah, you guys held it down because, I moved. So the plan was always to move eventually, but, it was the plan to move eventually, but unfortunately, life was lifing right off the rip in January. 6 days into January, I was like, all right, I guess I got to buy some fucking boxes.
This is a quick question. When you say something, it's like life is lifing. So
life was lifing.
So car is carring.
Like, is that how that works? When the car fucks up or makes weird noises, the car is carring.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, life was lifing. 6 days into the new year, I decided it was better to move than to wait. So I went apartment hunting, and within 4 days?
3 days.
3 days. I was like, all right, I like it, I'll sign for it, and I signed a lease the very next day. So, yeah, the month of January was spent moving and relocating, and setting some new stuff up, and getting everything in place, and getting this hung up on the wall. So, along with all the other things I hung up on the wall myself, but yeah, lots of things happening.
Of course.
This very table, was built by this man.
Yo, listen, this is about the sturdiest table I've built so far.
It doesn't wobble. It's good. It's a good table.
It's good table. See, as long as it holds up the #1 team in the NFL, we're good.
Okay. I feel like they're not in the Super Bowl, so I don't know if that constitutes them for being number one.
Listen.
Also, Crumble Cookie supporting the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of places will support it. Also, remember, I didn't have a voice for a week too. It sounded ridiculous. It still sounds a little bit raspy, but not as bad.
I'm telling you, that was like the funniest thing when I heard you. When I called.
We were supposed to stream that he was like, Ava? And I was like, no, it's not Ava, it's me. So in January, I was moving, packing up my whole house, downsizing because I went from a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, which is why we're, I don't know what I had, honestly. It wasn't the flu, it wasn't COVID. And then I had to relocate our podcast studio, which is now in my living room. It's part living room, part podcast studio. So we had to reconfigure some things and find a wall to stick this bright sign. So I was moving in January. I was also deathly ill, so that was fun. I had no voice. It was bad.
It's like morbid and dark.
I was sick as hell. I was like,
it's like
moving things up the stairs. I was wheezing. Like I could have been Lil Wayne for a few days.
The way I picture
I was
it is
wheezy F.
I picture it like a cartoon character with just rain clouds.
Yes,
over them
that's
all the time.
the January was a rough start.
Yeah.
Because I was stressed because I wasn't moving till June, and then life lifed, and
there we go.
And here we are in our new studio. Although I will say I like these digs a little bit better. I like the lighting. I like our newscast studio because your promo picture, the people loved it.
Did they? I looked lonely in that picture. I was like,
Lonely and serious.
I was like,
You
yo,
look serious.
why
Like you were about to drop some breaking news.
Like, yo, I had the polo on from work, and I was all like,
So serious.
So
I was just
needed
sitting
him
here
to
just
sit.
to see
No,
what it
trying to
was.
place
What it
this
feel like.
because we're about the same height. No, I just needed him to sit so when we placed this, we wouldn't block it essentially.
Yeah.
So I made him sit there so that when we hung the sign up, I had a frame of reference of where it needed to go. So I was like, just sit there so I could take a picture really quickly and have it for me and Ava hang it up. And then I was like, this is a promo. This is a promo picture.
Yeah, I was like, what was it you and Ava said? I was so embarrassed.
Embarrassed.
I was like, Oh my God! I was like,
Because you
this
look
is
like
the
you're about to
promo.
drop some serious news, like
Yeah,
tonight
listen.
at 11.
That was funny. I was
It
like,
was, but the people loved it.
no, and
It was legit.
thank you, y'all. I appreciate.
Yeah.
Gotta catch her off guard next.
Yeah, that's what
I
we
wasn't
gotta
off
do.
guard. He was looking right at the camera. I've been off guard if he would have been like, but he was like looking right at me
We gonna catch you looking at something.
at the news.
Yeah,
I was
like,
looking at the. He was like from the desk at Wall Street.
yo,
About to drop some
listen,
terrible trading news.
listen. You know, sometimes you gotta be serious, man. That's how it is.
You were very serious. You were extra serious.
I was so serious. You know where the serious came from? Building this desk. That's how it
This
motivated.
this took way longer than it really should
building the
have.
table,
The
actually.
table.
Instead of
This
desk.
this had way more parts and like pieces than it really should have.
Yeah, I was like, wait, there's brackets inside. I was like, you know what? We're just gonna
I built the
roll.
little like the stools though, and they are a little
Wobbly.
they're a
know what?
little wobbly.
So yeah. Well, this will see if the chairs
And
that
maybe
you
they make it through the
built,
podcast.
They make it through the podcast. Legit.
No wiggling. Just sit the fuck still.
I can't. I feel like a little kid. My feet are just.
Well, you can't see our feet, but they are dangling.
Oh, yeah.
So
No, also free.
yeah, the dogs are free. They're out. They're chilling. So yeah.
No, they'd be free if they were in the kennel.
No, well, they're not. They're behind the scenes dogs, I guess. But yeah, so we're still gonna be coming at you guys with pretty long content, but we're gonna break it up. So it's gonna be content every week. So I know some of y'all said that an hour and a half was a little bit too long for a podcast. So we heard you. Ooh, this thing moves, bro.
What moves? The table or the
No,
chair?
little bar. I gotta,
No, cause you ain't tighten it.
I don't
That's-
know.
yo.
I'll have to do that.
Yeah.
Put that on the checklist. Anyway,
Sheesh.
yeah, we're gonna be dropping content. So we're gonna drop content in parts for you guys now, so that way you can kind of consume it at your own pace. There'll be more content, more stuff coming out. We heard some of your questions, so we're gonna address those, and we're gonna keep listening to your guys' feedback and do what brings us the most engagement. We had a lot of engagement, a lot of growth last season, so we're gonna keep building on that.
Yeah, no, thank you for supporting us. We appreciate it, definitely.
Yeah, 25,000 on YouTube.
Man,
So
that's how I feel in years. 25,000 years old.
Like a dinosaur,
You know,
a
so
whole ass dinosaur.
I feel like I get up in the morning and.
No, I'm saying he said he felt old, like a dinosaur.
So your mom feels forever 16. I feel like every time I age, I get 100 years older. So
Just building all these desks.
yeah, that's what it is. And now I'm looking at more furniture. So
Oh, God.
Dad bod.
it's giving what?
She said it's giving dad bod.
Yeah, that's what I got when I got out the military. Yeah.
Oh my God. She said you washed, my man.
Yeah, that's it.
She said you're
This is
washed.
it.
Sorry.
It's all I'm good. All I'm good for now is being the dad to drive around and get some snacks and stuff.
You're a good Fortnite player.
The
Play Fortnite.
L trend is passing.
This is gonna be interesting.
I don't
man.
know. I don't know if
See,
it'll.
George?
I don't know if it'll. My dad loves that. He's just so excited that that's
Every
back
time
there.
he's here, he'll repeatedly ask you.
He's like, which way is it going? And I'm like, I haven't been here that long to be able to tell you through sound detection which way it's coming from. Like, just hold the table and be like, it's coming from the east.
Oh,
Yeah. So, do you
Okay.
know when I was organizing the content for season 1, and I was putting everything together like in folders and stuff on the RSS feed website that I use, it labeled or suggested, like when you categorize it, alternative lifestyle for the podcast.
okay. I mean, I guess it's something we could talk about. I don't know.
So, but it made me laugh because usually like, you think of alternative lifestyle, you think of people who like they live in tents, or they're Vikings, or I don't know, like they live off the grid, and I don't know, like they're Ninja Turtles. I don't know, like you think of
houses in the woods that you see on TikTok and they just live in.
off the grid people like that grow their own
That's-
like refried beans. I don't know.
No, don't get me wrong. I respect them because that's a lot of work.
I
You
don't
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would die in
I-
an apocalypse.
They speed them up and they'll hammer everything together.
Yeah, like-
Yeah, I don't.
'Cause-
But that's what I think of when I think of alternative. I don't think of like no. So you click on the tab, like the little thing, and it
yeah.
brings up like in that category is like the Mormons who have like multiple wives is in that category. Yeah, there's like a bunch of like strange things in there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like
Not against it if you like it. Though.
yeah, if you're Mormon, more power to you. there was like people who did like their entire, like they had a ton of kids, but none of them were theirs. They did surrogacy and stuff. Like there was a bunch of stuff. So then I'm like, why the F would this thing suggest this for me? And then I like Googled and I was like looking around, whatever. There are a couple of other family lifestyle blogs that, or like podcasts, whatever, that are not conventional in the sense that they're not like a typical setup. So technically, it is alternative because there's not a whole big market of people who have podcasts or baby mama and baby daddies who have podcasts who are friends who are not, who haven't dated in a really long time, who don't plan to, and have lives outside of each other, but also get along.
That's interesting. So now we've like, I don't know if like the animation for us either goes up into like alternative lifestyle, if we just like into alternative.
We just
lifestyle.
kind of like got. We just kind of got. They were like,
So I guess
you don't really have a seat for you guys, so it's going that way. Yeah. No, it's
This is
going that
interesting.
way.
No, I thought my ears felt like it was going.
No, it's behind the house. It's not in front of the
Well,
house.
somewhere it was going some direction.
Yeah, that way.
This way, that way.
Because I feel like if it comes this way, we're gonna.
It's going south, and then if
we're
it's
gonna
going
hear
that
it
way, it's
louder,
going up.
yeah.
I don't know. It's out our.
So listen, guys, this is gonna be like a little thing.
No, after a while, like in the next like 15 minutes or so, it'll start getting less frequent. It's just it's rush hour right now.
I was gonna say that could like be like a
Yeah,
little.
see, it's because it's rush hour.
That's what I'm saying. It could
It's
be
fu-
like a little interesting
Yeah,
thing for
but
us.
on
like,
a Sunday, I tell you,
train
we
time.
hear it like maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
It's like we're podcasting on our non-conventional day because of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl. Please put who you like and who you want to win in the comments. Listen, if you say 49ers, I respect y'all.
Or you're like me and you don't know.
Not saying I don't respect y'all, but Patrick Mahomes wins too much.
I don't know.
He wins.
One of my friends called him a crybaby because he cried once. But like,
Well, whatever.
I respect
Yeah.
But that begged the question because a couple of times we got comments and DMs that asked the question, "How do you, sir, just put it around?"
What you mean?
No, that makes no sense.
Yeah. Like,
That's
you-
nonsensical.
I'm not like
Never
an
mind that.
octopus. I can't just like. shoo.
Knock the whole fucking thing down.
Yeah. Like just,
I was like, just do it like that. I almost knocked it over before. We gotta get our ADHD in check.
yes. This season we can't be all over.
I had notes. I made notes, but the question I get asked a lot is like that we get my organized chaos. That's my life. That we get asked a lot, like on YouTube and Instagram and things like that. How do we explain our friendship and like our coexistence to people that A, doesn't like make them suspicious, and B, like properly captures like a friendship?
That is interesting. I mean, it is a good. That's a good question. So I think that comes from. I think that comes with time. Like
In every man's life, no.
yeah, like you did some time where you just gotta be like, yo, listen, man, this is what it is. I mean, and I know it always lingers though. There's always that suspicion
Well,
that lingers.
I think there's that suspicion
but-
because there's a stereotype that
Yes.
goes along with it, and social media
Yeah.
perpetuates that. Big
Oh,
time.
of course, 100%. You see the clips and the this and the that where, it's like, yeah, it's the guy and the girlfriend, and then he kind of like slips away to go be with the baby mama, and then it's like, I feel like, yo, with everything that I do, it takes me like 16 hours to get to work. 16
Yeah,
hours
none
to
of
get
my baby
back.
mamas were in close proximity,
You
so
know what
that
I mean?
just
So
seems
it's
like a
like-
fucking headache.
So it's like, listen, if I'm giving my daughters their time,
And this one, I don't have any parts in that. Like I don't,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I drop her off and
that's
drop,
it.
like that's
Like,
it. There's
that's
no
it.
like, there's no
No,
I mean,
yeah.
besides podcasting, there's no overlap. Like we don't, you do whatever you do with her on your weekends,
No,
and then
I'm-
she,
yeah.
and it's me
And
and her
that's
we go to
all-
Starbucks, whatever. But there's no like crossover.
Yeah, so it's I think the best way is honestly you got to be blunt about it, and it's just something that is displayed through actions. Like that person has to see it up front. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
get they have to see how it is. Like if like if you're the type of person where like you text me and then I kind of just like hold up and turn to the side.
Yeah,
then
or like
it's
you
kinda-
just pick the phone up.
Yeah, it's kind of
Put
like
the phone in cheater
like,
mode.
like shoo, darkness. Thank you. You know,
Like,
so I think I think you have to see it through actions. You know, so that's how I would answer that. Like,
But
you know,
at what
just
point do you like bring that up? Like when you're like, all right, you're dating somebody, like you meet somebody, you go on a couple dates. At what point in time are you like, don't unplug that, bro? What are you doing? Okay,
I might have,
keeping us alive. But at what point in time, like how far into like dating somebody that you think you might like and like want to get to know more, are you like, by the way, I have a podcast with my baby mama?
well, the initial
A couple weeks.
the initial thing is, yo, I have 2 kids.
Oh, for
And,
you, yeah.
and then it's like
I forget
have,
because she's so big. It's like it's a non-thing. Like, she's just another person that lives in my house.
So it's like for me it's like I have 2 kids, and then it's like, by the way, it's 2 different.
Also,
It's by 2 different mamas.
2 different women, and the first one and me are like this.
Yeah, so it's like we are like this, but we're not like
But
this.
we're not like we're like this, but like this.
Yeah, like it's like it's
Like this.
very extended but close. Like and it's like I try to
Like
explain
dap
to
you
them.
up close, like not.
And I try to
You
explain.
can't use that term because I'll dap up kids that I have in my 4th period that I never speak to the rest of the day.
Yeah, but that's how like that we're not like that's just how
it's
like
just a,
friendly
"Hi,
it
how are you?"
is.
in the hallway, you keep
Yeah,
going.
But there's no intimate friendship.
Yeah,
There's no,
like, I
there's
feel
no
like-
there's no intertangling.
Yeah, because it's like if we hugged, it'd probably be like at your graduation or a wedding or
didn't
something.
hug at her graduation.
But we didn't even hug that.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's like I don't know.
Mind your space, my guy. Like,
Listen, my space is very thin. Ava knows. That's why I don't even go out in public, because I respect my own space. It's like my space ends where this pocket is. There is no oxygen that can get in. It's only forward oxygen that comes this way. Like, pause. But you know what I'm saying?
That's
yo.
crazy.
I'm just saying because of the motion that I just did. So,
okay.
but listen. Oxygen.
But it's easy
we
for
do.
people to make assumptions.
Of course.
Because,
I mean,
if you just scroll on TikTok, on Twitter, like there's the stereotype and like the historical, like the setup or like how it is like there are some men who won't date women with kids where the baby daddy's still like she knows who he is or he's around because they're like convinced that she's gonna cheat on him with the baby father because they're like that's just what happens, and it's like no. Maybe when you're younger, like maybe that's a younger thing.
I think when you're younger, because you don't know, and it's kind of like the same thing that we explained to Ava. It's like you don't know where, at that point in time, how to manage your feelings.
No, you don't. You
a
don't
lot.
have. You
like
don't have,
how we can do it now as adults.
as adults,
and
yeah,
growing
but that was a
older.
work in progress because even in
So-
our 20s we struggle with that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I feel like when you're younger, you don't know how to really manage your feelings. So it's like, or these emotions that you're going through. So it makes it a little bit harder. And then too, it's the majority. I think it just goes back to what you're saying. Like what is put out there in the world, and what really happens is that people now too are very like, especially with baby mamas and baby daddies. If that other person is reliable or they can depend on that person, it's like they won't work on what's going on. Like if a boyfriend and girlfriend get into a fight, right? At that point in time, they're angry at each other.
Yeah, it's
so
easy
it makes
to go back to. It's
so-
like a comfort zone, so it's
Yeah.
easy to like resort or like revert back to that, or just because it's like, I mean, it's like a very corporate term, but it's low hanging fruit in the sense that I don't have to try. I could just call you up.
Right.
I know you're gonna fall for it. I know you're with the shits, and
Yeah.
it is what it is.
I was watching a video actually, and it was saying like, as a person, a human, of course, but we have a trait that we are used to going back to the hell that we know.
Yeah, you're
You know what I
comfortable,
mean?
and it's the
So
chaos
it's like,
that you know.
Right. So it's like I feel like if you get into a bit of trouble or a little squabble with your other half, and a lot of people instead of like just like chilling out for a second,
Or
breathing.
sitting with those feelings and acknowledging, yeah, I'm mad, this is why, and like let's work on it. Instead it's like a tit for tat, or I'm gonna get you back, or
Yeah, and
just like to ignore those emotions. It's like I'm just gonna go do this, and I feel like that's a very young thing to do. I feel like it's something that's easier to do when you're like 19, 20, like
Yeah.
it's when you're not like fully mature.
and that's where I want, like, it took me a long time to learn this, and what I would want people, and Ava, to take away from this is don't make permanent decision on temporary feelings.
Yep.
You know, don't make a decision that's gonna, you know, permanently change your
alter
relationship
that or
or
alter the
whatever.
course of your life
Yeah.
in some
You know.
instances too, because like there's something that I've read a couple times called the 5-minute rule. So before you respond or acknowledge it, wait 5 minutes, and if it won't matter in 5 minutes or 5 days, then it won't matter in 5 years, and it doesn't really deserve your
Right.
time or your effort.
Exactly.
So it's like, but people don't learn that until it's too late. But that, I think it's just so widespread amongst people who have kids together that were never married, because I don't really hear it or see it as much for people who are formerly married and then divorced and like went through a divorce that end up like cheating on their new significant other with their ex-wife. You hear it more like with somebody who they just had kids or a kid, and then it's easy to like flip back to that because you know that person.
Right.
You know, it's just whatever.
You know.
But to try, as soon as I say it sometimes, I'm like, yeah, you know, me and my daughter's father have a podcast. They're like, what?
It's like,
They're like,
he's there for an extended amount of time.
they're like, how do you navigate that and dating and being with somebody? And it's like, well, yeah, it's definitely a conversation. But to your point, I think that person needs to see it. And yeah, all right, come chill while we're filming a podcast. You know, like,
Yeah.
come see how that goes. Come for the drop off. Like, but that also takes a level of maturity, because I will fully cop to the fact that I was not mature the entire time, because we've said before, Amanda was the first person I even agreed to meet or like let be around Ava.
Well,
Before I
because-
was like, don't bring that bitch to the drop off.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
don't bring her here. I don't want to fuck her. Like, she's not, you know.
I think what surprises a lot of people too. I think too, what people have to understand is understand your trauma before, like understand what you've been through.
Yeah, and the fact that you
before-
probably didn't process a lot of what we've been through until we were older.
Right, because a lot of what we went through happened when we were much younger.
Yeah, we were immature.
So, you know, people will say that, but we've been. I don't want to make it sound like oh, it's this good thing, but we were ahead of the curve because this happened when we were 19. So we
Yeah.
had. Now I'm 34. You know,
21.
33.
Yeah, I'll be 34
So we had 15 years
Of experience
Yeah.
of doing it, but I would say the first like 7 or 8
Yeah,
years were like
was very
very
it was rough.
dicey.
Yeah,
It was definitely not the best time. And I think, and that's another question that people ask too, how, because it was easy to pretend you didn't exist and ignore any lingering, you know, like animosity or feelings or anything when you weren't here. It was really
Right.
easy, just out of sight, out of mind. But then you came back, and the other question is, how did you both navigate or get to a point where you were both like, ew.
Well,
Oh,
I think that comes with time and maturity as well. Like you understand. Like of course you. Like I always try to tell people, and I try to tell even. You know, people. You know, that I've encountered, women. You know, whatever. You know, when we start to date, it's like. There's a certain thing, and I don't know if anybody can agree, but there is. Like you're my child's mother, and I have a certain amount of respect. You know what I mean? And
there's just a level.
that respect goes as far as to what my kid needs and what. Yeah, if you're in trouble, you wear your tire pops. Yo, listen, we gotta go, or I gotta go. But if you're not gonna come, I definitely gotta go because my kids.
It's
in the
different,
car.
yeah, and
You know what I mean?
I think
And-
that's I feel like that's the baseline though, because how we interact is more than just like a baseline of like, you know, we're stranded in the city, we need a ride or whatever. Like we have,
But
we got that down pat first, where it was
Well,
just like,
that's what I was trying to
you know,
explain. Like,
we
that
could-
was like
that was
the
the baseline.
foundation.
But
yeah.
originally, when you first came back, there wasn't even that. I could be like
Yeah.
dangling off a cliff, and you would have been like, "Well, bitch, should have fucking read the signs." Like, sucks. I don't know.
No, yeah. So I feel like that. You know, number one is like you said. That's like that foundation, and then deep down too, you have to dig down and really say like, how much you love the person you created.
As a creature,
Yeah, and I'm saying like,
what?
it was supposed to say creation, but it came out as a creature.
so it's like
What?
it's like you have to mature. Those things come, I guess, with maturity. I
Yeah,
guess, you know
and
what I
that,
mean?
but also separating it. We've said this.
Yeah.
Did the cat just meow? Oh no,
No.
there's children. I was like, is that sheep?
Creatures.
Creatures, other creatures. But that also comes with, we've said this before, separating the love for her and the need to be there for her with any lingering feelings or issues we have. And that took a long time for me to do, to separate like my, I don't want to say hatred, but my like animosity towards you and my,
Yeah.
you know, like my, I guess like hurt feelings from like, all right, you're her dad and you deserve to spend time with her. Like that, she shouldn't suffer because I want to punch you in the face. So
Right.
that is like the baseline, and then just being able to like drop her off, be like, hey, she needs school clothes, okay, cool, and then from there it's like, all right, you know, you drop her off, you bullshit for a few, and then like from there, I think what bridged a lot of it though for us, like to be able to be friendly, was when like after I met Amanda, and then I was with, you know, my previous partner, and then we were able to like meet in the middle there, because
Yeah.
that was a good neutral ground, because you were with somebody else and I was with somebody else.
Yeah, and I think we got to experience. Once again, I don't want to make it sound funny, but you get to experience happiness and life actually going on without that person.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's I think making peace with the absence is the hardest thing, because
Yeah.
for me, that I had to make peace with that well before we were ever done, because you left in 2011. She was
Right.
2,
Yeah.
so or 10. Did you leave in 10? You left in 10.
No, I left in
You
10. She was about a
so
year and a
she was
half.
A year and a half old when you left. So for me, it was having to make peace with your absence, and also like then navigate being long distance with you, and then make big life decisions at 21. Like, did I want to move to Texas with you? And then like all
Yeah.
the other bullshit that came like with that time period was like fueled a ton of other things. So then when you came back, like getting to a point where it was like I had to let that go. You know,
Yeah.
like, we were different people then we were younger. So, you know, people are like, well, how can you let it go if it was such a big thing in your life, whatever. It's like, because it's in her best interest, and what does harping on it do?
Right, and that's the thing. Like you, even so, even if you don't decide to, let's say you didn't decide to let it go, there's nothing you can change.
No, I can't change anything
about
about it. I'm just
because
going to walk around with anger.
right, because the other person is letting go. So I always think you every day is a day for personal growth. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what you did while I was gone. Personal growth. You got to, of course, take care of a whole nother human being, but also learn yourself, relearn yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
and a lot of that
And
time I spent alone.
and that's what I don't. That's what I think people, get the misconception because you get so fixated on what was there instead of moving forward. And I'm not saying look forward to being with that person again, but look
No,
forward
just-
to who you're going to be in the future and how to
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah, and all the things that
forward.
open up the space for other things, for other
Right.
relationships, for other people, but then also be able to explain all of this in a not super long explanation to a person that you potentially want to date or are dating, and not make it sound like, well, I just kind of like figured, fuck it, let it go. It's better to have him as my friend than nothing.
Right.
But also at the end of the day, like for her sake, we went to her graduation together. We had a joint party for her.
Yeah.
So those things matter in the grand scheme of things. But there's still gonna be like, just I guess making peace for us with the fact that we're still gonna meet people that no matter which way we explain it, they're not gonna be okay with
Right.
it, and they're not gonna be cool with it. They're gonna just think it's weird, or they're gonna have had
Yeah.
past experiences of their own where they're like, no way, that's weird.
No, of course, and that's the one thing that I think needs to stop the stigma is that on both ends of the spectrum, baby mama and baby daddy need to understand that like once you're calling it quits at that point in time, that's what it needs to be.
Yeah, there needs to be
because
space.
because the stigma is like 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 how you see on social media, like my girl's not around, I'm gonna go to my baby mama crib and
Yeah, or
do
like
whatever.
I sleep
you
at
know?
my baby mom's house twice a week or whatever.
Yeah, like-
but then they disguise it under like the guise of, oh, I want to be there for my kids' bedtime, and I'm like, that's all cool and well. You can put your kids to bed, but once they're sleeping, get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah, and honestly, I think once you leave that situation, right, you already know that you've made that woman a single mom,
Yeah, that's it.
and you've become a single dad. So I think what needs to happen is more in terms like people need to be more in terms of like, listen, if you want more time with her, okay, we'll work on something for you
Yeah.
to get more
Yeah,
time
we'll
with her,
work on it.
because
But
at the end
outside
the-
of me and my space,
right?
like you
Because
can
I
take
feel
her, but I don't
that's-
need to be there.
Yeah, right. Because I feel like, okay, yeah, you know, I'm putting her to bed is like, yeah, but you're at your baby mom's house at like 2:00 in the morning.
Well, about when they're
You know what I'm saying?
younger,
Like-
I mean, obviously she doesn't need to be put to bed now. I'm just like, all right, good night. But like when they're little, they should be going to bed realistically somewhere between 7 and 9 p.m. depending on their age.
Right.
So, all right, you wanna go to take them to dinner, and then bring them home and give them a shower and a bath and then put them to bed. All right, cool. Once that's, and I'm not gonna be part of that while you're here. Like I'm gonna be
Right.
in my room or in the living room or whatever, or depending on the relationship, I might not even be in the house at all. I might just be like, I'm gonna go get my nails done while you do all this
Right.
or whatever. But once they're asleep, then that's it. Like it's like, all right, cool. Thanks for taking
Yeah,
the
peace out.
afternoon with them, whatever. Like good night. Like
Yeah.
where the line gets muddy is, you fall asleep on the couch or like you don't go back to your own house, and then
Right.
it becomes an issue where immediately people are like, oh, he goes to your house and like you guys podcast in your house, and it's like, yeah, and the creation is right over there. The creature is right over there. The creature. But it's like, I think that's part of why we started this, because it's really an odd thing to hear or to see two people get along and discuss like real life shit together that wouldn't normally be the person you discuss that shit with. Usually it's like your best friend
Yeah.
or your homegirl or whatever, and then to be able to discuss that and get to a point where you're comfortable doing that and talk about, dating and whatever. Because one of the other questions we got was if the person we were dating or like seriously dating wanted us to stop the podcast or stop doing it, would we ever consider it?
That's tough because it's like if I come into your realm and I explain to you what I have going on, right? That means I'm being open with you and I'm letting you know what my priorities are and what I'm doing, even as a hobby. Like this is what I'm doing. Makes my outlet, even if whatever. Let's say if I can just be the person to change 100 people's minds on what a situation can be
Yeah, what it
instead
can
of
turn into.
yeah, instead of just idly watching by. But like I would rather do something more. I would tell them like, yo, listen, then you're not for me.
Get out.
You're not. Yeah, like and I don't mean that in a rude way. Like
No,
it's
but
my
like,
way or the highway.
But I could see that being the case if like you withheld it. I mean, it's kind of hard. Like we post all over social media, but like if you
Right.
if you ambush somebody with it, maybe. But like I don't. We don't. Like it's all over both of our social medias.
Yeah.
And then also like I don't mind including you in it. Like I said, come when we podcast. Like we
Right.
we'll order
If
food,
you're
whatever. We'll
seriously
chill.
dating them, they all of a sudden have an issue.
No, it wouldn't be all of a sudden. Like if I'm seriously dating them, and then, and I would expect at our big age, if there was an issue or something made you feel uncomfortable, that you would be like, hey, yeah, tell me, like, hey, this and this, like this topic made me uncomfortable. Like, why would you say that? You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
that type of
yeah.
thing. But also understanding that you have to trust that person. Like you have to trust and believe when I say that I haven't been with this man in over a decade, and that's it. Like we know that's
Never
That's
again.
that's what it is. So it's like I feel to me it just goes. There's like when you go on TikTok and you go on Instagram and you go on these Facebook or whatever. There's such a small like grouping of wholesome content like that's just like
it's very but
this
most
is what
content
something
is
could
messy.
be. Yeah, but that and that's my point. It's like most content that people are so attracted to is like
messy.
that
It's-
toxic, messy.
It's bullshit. It's I
like-
caught my man cheating with his baby mama, or
Yeah.
my boyfriend got his baby mama pregnant again, like that type of thing. Like
and it's,
those are the things that people. But look at the views. There's millions of views on that.
that's what I'm saying. And it's like sometimes you go through the comments and it's like. It's almost like people like support that toxic behavior, and it's like,
No,
but
it's
then
expected. I think they're like, oh well, what did you expect? Like he was never gonna leave his baby mama alone.
yeah, and it's like I feel like if that was not promoted as like in everybody's face,
The norm.
Like if it wasn't like exactly shown as a normal thing, then there would be more trust both ways. You know what I mean?
I think it would be less like. I feel like again, it would be less like what people are just brought up believing.
Right, and I feel like if more people too also came out of the woodwork that are like us, like, hey, yeah, that's how we live as well, or that's
Yeah,
how
we're
cool I am with
cool
them.
or whatever.
You know what I mean? Like, that would start to shift.
The perspective. But again, I
Yeah.
think there's a couple of I've come across. There's one on TikTok. Her page is called East Coast DIY, and her and her husband, her husband's in the military, but they do flip houses, like they flip the
Yeah.
houses, whatever. Her husband now is not the father of her kids. It's her second husband or her oldest kid, something like that. But her first husband is the contractor for their house. He's designing their new house. So he's building the house that his ex-wife and her new husband are going to live in.
And that's dope to me.
And
That's
that's
dope.
yeah, but they're old. They're not our age. They're older. They're like in their late 30s, late 30s. So that it's not something you see in a younger, like, crowd of people. The
Yeah.
younger crowd is just messy, like, multiple kids by the same in intervals, and it's the norm. Versus, like, again, divorce, when you were like married and you had that like marriage and then you divorce, it's like less common. But in most cases, once you divorce from that person, it's like, yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
like, all right, your dad's here, run outside and get in his car, and then Sunday the kids just come back in the house.
Yeah.
There's like no, and again, that goes back to people dealing with their feelings. But I think if I was dating somebody or starting to date somebody and they were like, yeah, that's going to have to end, it's going to be like,
Get out.
you don't respect me as a person then.
Right.
I'm telling you that this is something that I'm doing, that I'm passionate about, that we've put time and effort into, that has grown and has results. And you're basically just telling me to cast it aside because you're insecure about this? I don't think so.
100%. And I
Being insecure.
That's what I think. I think it's insecure, and I think it's also like a lack of. It's a lack of understanding too, and also I think just from my side, with the men, this sounds really fucking hypocritical, but I would prefer not to date a man with kids or a man with young kids. Like, they'd have to be 10 years of age or older. I don't want to deal with little ones. But I also say that to say, as the kids age, you kind of age out of wanting to be with that person. But I feel like more men are like, oh no, I'm not dating a woman with a baby father, because in their mind, they would go back to their baby
Right,
mama.
yeah.
So they operate from a place of, well, I've done that. I would do that. It's going to get done to me, so I'm not going to deal with it.
And that's why I say that's where the lack of personal growth is like, if you know in your mind that you're gonna do that to somebody, like, yo, listen, you're gonna be 3-4 years in a relationship with somebody,
And throw it away.
and then all of a sudden, decide that, you know what, I'm gonna risk it all for my baby mama. Then why didn't you just sit
Risk
in
it all
that-
from the beginning,
Yeah,
yeah.
why didn't you just sit in the corner and
wait.
have a talk about it?
Yeah.
Or wait till she broke up with
Her man.
her
or,
man, and then
yeah.
y'all figure it out.
Or just say
what
what, but I don't think, again, like I said earlier, I don't think it comes from a place that I genuinely want to be with you. It's just easy to be with you. I don't have to put any effort forth.
Right, because I guess at that
It's
point it's
easier.
already routine.
Yeah, it's
you guys been
there's no like that awkward like
Yeah.
getting to know, like it's repetitive. So, but I think like I've never dated a man with children, so I don't know.
Please
What?
don't.
I don't want. I got my tubes tied, so I would prefer to not. My main thing is little ones. Like, they have to be able to like feed and take care of themselves and not require a ton of time and attention. Like they can't be like exotic pets. They have to be like regular. Like, they have to be like a house cat that I can just leave
What?
food out for and be like, here you go,
Yeah.
or like turn on, or, like, yeah, all right, like eat dinner with us. Have
So
like
you just want them to be able to do what they need to do.
yeah, like they gotta be like her age. You know what I'm saying? They can't be. I don't want to deal with little ones. And it like a year or so ago, maybe. Well, probably a little. Yeah, about a year or so ago, somebody that I had previously gone on a couple dates with found me on Instagram and added me. And then I was going through his page and I realized he had a 2-year-old, and I was like, oh dear. So I was like, all right. I'm like, maybe, like, I don't know, like, what the situation is. I'm like, maybe it's doable. Like, maybe the weekends line up. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. And then he was like, I have her 50-50. And I was like, nah, bro, I'm not even going to waste your time.
Yeah,
I was like,
know.
I'm not the woman for this.
I feel like everybody
It's
has
like
their
Sunday
preferences.
through Thursday. Like, they just switch every 4 days.
Yeah.
It's, so that's sometimes the norm. But I'm like, had nothing to do with the baby. Oh my God, Ava,
Ooh, we're crooked now.
put the thing back on there. You have to straighten it out.
It is straight.
No, it's not straight. I'm looking straight at it.
It is. Yeah.
I think it
So
needs
we
to
just-
go up a little bit on your side.
We just wobbled a little bit.
It was a little bit of an earthquake. Yeah,
Dude.
but that's how I felt. He was like, yeah, she's 2, and I was like, blech.
Well,
The kid was cute, but I'm just like, I don't. All I think about, and this sounds so selfish, and I'm sorry, there's no other way to say this. All I think about is I go to your house, you know, she's with you for the weekend, I go to your house for the weekend, and now I gotta worry about some fucking kid climbing all over me while I'm sleeping. Like, I did my fucking time with that. Like, she knows not to wake me up unless the house is on fire. Don't wake me up, or she's like gravely ill. Like, don't wake me. And I gotta think about your kid coming in here like 6:45 in the morning, climbing. No,
Ready.
no,
Ready.
no. I think about she's Kailani's age, so
That was it. She ready to have fun.
and Kailani is so cute, and like when we went out to dinner, because Kailani and Amanda came and helped me like put stuff away here, and then we went out to dinner, and she's full of energy.
Oh, she's
she
a burst.
a burst of energy. She was dancing in the place we went out to eat.
Oh my god.
She was everything that I took tags off of. She went to the garbage and threw it out.
She don't play.
She was
She
ready
don't
to
play.
go. I was like opening boxes, and she was like taking stuff out and handing it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, I'm still doing this drawer. And
And-
she was just handing me like wads of clothing
Yeah.
and throwing it in there, and I was
Yo,
like, you are so cute.
It's so funny because I feel like Ava has like this little side of her that's like a little devil side, but then I feel like Kai does not. She don't play, man.
No, that second child don't give a fuck.
She don't play. Kai, give me your iPad. Oof, take it.
Yeah, Amanda was like,
Take it.
she had the snack thing, and Amanda's like, stop dropping it. She was like, then you take it.
Yeah.
Bitch. Like,
Like, yo, it was wild. I'm like, Kai, give me the iPad. And I just wanted to see it for a second. I wasn't taking it away from her. I just wanted to see something on it because something looked funny. It's a little thing
yeah,
she has
was
at the
like-
back.
she
It was kind of like bent.
go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
she
taking
was
my
like,
iPad.
she said, you want it?
Go get it, bitch.
I'm like, and I'm just like, yo,
No,
I can't wait till you get
she's
older so I can
my
fight
dad
you.
loves her. We
It's like, I wanna
told
fight
we
you.
went to my parents' house, and my dad I was like, I'm gonna stop by with Amanda and Kailani, and he was like, oh yay! So we go inside or whatever, and I called down to him, I'm like, Dad, Amanda and Kailani are here, and he comes upstairs, and he's like, hi, and she was like, who are you?
Like,
Why are you so excited to see me? He's like, oh, you're like a little Ava, you're so cute. He's like, do you remember me? And she was like, no, I don't.
in the databanks of 2 years and some
Like,
change?
no, my memory only started forming like the last 6 months or so no, I don't.
But
She
I
she
catch you on
loves
the next one.
Sailor, and he's so cute with her. Like, he
Oh
walks
my
over like very, because with us, he's like
By
a
the way,
fucking
Dad,
moose.
she acts like she's surprised. Sailor doesn't do that every
Well, I'm usually not there. 'Cause
Yeah.
Again, when Ava's like, the kids are here, and I was like, oof.
Dodge that.
I'm gonna thank you for the invite.
It's like the house is here and then you drive
I was
right
like,
by.
"Sure." I was like, I have to be in the mood for that. I can't, like, again, I have one, so it sounds hypocritical, but she's big. I didn't date anybody seriously until she was older. She was 8.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want to subject anybody to that. Like, it's a commitment. It's like a fucking puppy. Like, you're stuck with it for the
Jesus
longest
Christ.
Like, if you're on board for it, you're on board for being woken up at 6:45 in the morning. You're on board for fucking school plays. You're on board for my kid is sick, we have to cancel our plans. You have to be okay with that.
I
And
can
I
understand
think
that.
not admitting that you're not okay with it is a waste of time too.
Yeah,
And also you're not doing the other person justice
If you're
either.
not okay with it, but you pretend to be okay with it
Yeah,
because you
and-
want to be with somebody. 'cause-
Or you think it'll just like go away. I think
Like-
like I
No,
think that's a
like,
harder thing. And
yeah,
I think
you
for
have to be
you have to
honest
split it between 2 people. You have to split
Yeah.
it twice. And I think that is a good segue into part 2 of this episode.
Oh,
Do you agree?
I do think.
And
I
you
do
can
think
explain
so.
how you tell women you have 2 baby mamas that are friends.
Sheesh.
That
That.
work together.
Oh my gosh.
Explain that to clients is fucking hysterical.
Oh my God.
But we hope you'll catch us in part 2 to catch the rest of this episode. Same place, same time next week, and we'll catch you over there.
Peace.